Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the Frontline Changes report. And so for those that do not know, you can also see this map on the Defense Politics Asia's website. The link is in the description below. In the /Ukraine, you can access this mapping. You can look at the information yourself, and also, yesterday's SIPREP, the situation report that's currently, as per this recording, currently on the delayed telecast on the main channel. The date here, I put wrong. So yesterday should be the 26th May 823. I forgot that I have already changed that. Then I changed it again. So so to this report then is for the information for the day of 824. So we're gonna start off with some frontline changes. Again, there's still more frontline changes since the 12 hours ago, maybe 14 hours ago, as per this recording. And there's changes at Vilshana, Novo Vodyane, Kalinina, Umanske, and Netailove. Again, all is red. So the Russians are still marching on. So we start off with Vilshana over at the Kupyansk front. And at this area here, the Russian forces, this is based on information from the Ukrainian source, Deep State UA's mapping shows that the Russians have taken the entire tree line. So this is pretty significant because this means that the Russians can now hop onto the next line, which is, I think it's a river, if I'm not wrong. Not very sure. No, it's not a river. It's just a small little valley sort of thing. It's just a tree line. So, so this is the front line change over the area of Sinkivka, Vilshana region. So Vilshana is actually here. So you can see Vilshana is here. So this is the front line change over at the Kupyansk front. The next front line change is over at Novo Vodyane. So just now we were here. So now we're going to go to Novo Vodyane. And over at this Novo Vodyane region, there is a geolocation of Russian forces at this edge of this forest. So the Russians are launching an attack in this area here. So tentatively, we're going to see this. We're going to list this as a Russian capture. But of course, there's a possibility that the attack failed and then it remains under Ukrainian control. But given geolocations, usually we just put it as a capture, and unless it's very very in depth. So I didn't see Ukrainian soldiers, at least in the the vague look of this video. I didn't look carefully because there's just way too much things to see, so no point. And then there's another major information. So yes, in the previous frontline changes report, I mentioned about this geolocation of Russian flags being planted in the middle of Bilohorivka. So Ryba actually written about this, and they say that there's these flags. There's a good chance because there's two flags. So one flag they say that is likely to be planted with drone. The second one could be planted by soldiers that was on the probing attack. And so generally speaking, they cannot confirm that the Russians have advanced into the town. And as such, I correct our mapping. So now this is going to change into a possible presence only, which means that we will retain the Ukrainian front line, whereas the Russian front line will now extend in. So this is the current change to the front to the mapping. Otherwise, so we just marked it as a possible Russian presence. But for a firm capture, I think we cannot confirm this just yet. So there's a correction to yesterday's report. So the next front line changes is over at the Bakhmut front at Kalinina. So over at the Bakhmut front, this is Bakhmut city. At this area here, Russian forces have been geolocated over on the western part of the major trench system. So as you can see, there is a series of trenches over this area here, probably most likely of course through the forest as well, and then there's a defensive position on the top. The Russian forces geolocated here means that the Russians have basically overtaken the entire trench line of this area here, so changing the front line further up. So this marks a massive frontline change, allowing the Russians to start to attack from the northern part of from the north or the northern part of Kalinina, whereas the Russians can also push through the through the main road. So which means that they can attack from two different directions now. But this frontline change, of course, I have been thinking whether the frontline should be like this. Tentatively, I decided that not to draw this in. So I'm just going to leave this as continue to be under Ukrainian control based on the Ukrainian mapping, whereas the Russians only attacked this fortification only. So because I cannot verify if this is the case, if the Russians actually captured this area, so we just leave it at this, and then we just wait for more information. Most likely we will see Deep State UA correcting the front line and actually give us better ideas, maybe over the next 24 hours, because Deep State always reacts to geolocations, and they're very, very good at it. So we just wait and see how it goes. So the next frontline change is over at Umanske, over at the Avdiivka front. This is Avdiivka city. So at Umanske, Russian forces have taken yet another tree line over here on the north eastern part of Umanske, so extending their control, and soon they will be able to create a buffer in the north. So the only one left now is this one, this tree line around here, which the Ukrainians may have a position there. So once the Russians take over this place, then there is a buffer zone for the Russians on the north of Umanske. Clearly they have to capture all this forest line as well, but we will see that happen eventually, maybe the next 2 days, 3 days, and because it's going to be very hard for the Ukrainians to hold this position. So we just continue to wait and see how this develops. And the last frontline change is over at Netailove. So this massive frontline change over this area here with the Ukrainian mapping. So I cannot zoom in, it's too big. The Ukrainian mapping shows that the Russian forces, let me draw it again with the wrong color, taken the entire southern part of Netailove. So this means that the Russian forces have fully secure Netailove from the south, not from the other directions, only in the south. So the Ukrainians still have control, and of course there's a lot of trenches around here in the north of Netailove, and also the forest and some tree lines over on the western part. So despite the Russian Defense Ministry's declaration that Netailove has been captured, Ukrainian side have not reacted. The Deep State UA did not claim that Netailove is captured by the Russian forces, so it could be because of this entrenchment in the north of Netailove as well as the forest to the east. So until I think the Deep State UA will only declare that Netailove taken by the Russians, maybe in another few days when the Russians are able to take all this position in the north. Particularly, I think this position in the north is the most critical one because these are the entrenchment that is overlooking the settlement. So anyway, these are the frontline changes report. So I want to take a look at the relief mapping before we go into the before I go on to take about SITREP. So you can see there's some a bit of a high ground in the north. So there's some high grounds here. So this is actually overlooking the settlement a little bit, not by much, a little bit. So which is why maybe Deep State UA refuse to admit the capture of Netailove by the Russian forces. I think that's probably it. So anyway, these are the frontline changes report. I will be doing the SITREP as a separate video. So maybe I will publish it a bit later, so to let these frontline changes have some airtime. So for those that do not know, the YouTube actually have airtime. YouTube will only share one video, at most 2 videos from one channel at a single time. So which is why everyone have to regulate their videos, especially even if you have a lot of videos to publish. So anyway, thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update.